everybody. This is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 31, Pokemon Go to the Polls, recorded on Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. Tonight's topics: the rich whine, Russia seems to be getting desperate, and games in school. Stick around, we have a little bit of fun with this one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
And I'm Ryan McAllister.
So I want to apologize for not having a show last week. It was unexpected. My father-in-law passed away last week from a short battle with pancreatic cancer, and it was a lot shorter than anybody expected. So it was a very sudden thing. So we did not get a chance to record, or even if we did record, I wouldn't have had time to edit. So apologize for that, and also have to apologize because of everything that was going on. Probably going to be a short show this week. Who knows? Got 3 topics as usual, but I'm not sure how long we can go on each of them.
All right.
But we'll see what happens. You never know. Maybe Ryan will actually talk for a change. All right, so let's get right into the first topic here.
Okay.
And we'll just go in order of them.
Yep.
Just because it's simple and none of them are related in any way, so. So it's not going to matter much. But the first one is Alec Baldwin and his whining.
Okay.
So yeah, he's back in the news over the shooting on the Rust stage, whatever you want to call it, set, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, he's whining because they had come to an agreement outside of court with, to settle stuff with the husband of the victim, cinematographer. I don't remember exactly what her title was, but they came to a settlement outside of court with that, and I don't know if he thought that meant that the state wasn't going to continue to press charges or what the deal was, but he started whining again, and some of it I kind of understood, because one of the things that he was complaining about was the fact that they were putting in, or some law that they enacted after this happened, they tried to charge him with, and so I understand that. It wasn't in effect at the time, so you can't really charge him with that. If it was in effect, sure, you can charge him. But the other thing he's whining about is having to do jail time. Well, here's the here's the thing. Somebody died. You were holding the gun and somebody died. I don't care if you said you never pulled the trigger. You were holding the gun. And, this goes back to the whole problem that you always hear of with, it's never a rich person's fault. They're never at fault.
Never.
And this is why I'm saying it with regards to him. Because his whole thing is, well, I was told the gun was not hot. Okay. Well,
and
here's the thing, dummy. Plain and simple. There is a law that is in the United States. It's not specific to states. You are responsible for your actions. So the fact that you were holding a gun, not aware of whether or not it was loaded with a live round, and pointed it at somebody, it doesn't matter if it's not your job to make sure it's not a live round. You are the one holding the gun. Therefore, it is your responsibility.
Yep.
So I really, truly would love to see I'd love to see the district attorney actually provides enough evidence so that a jury convicts him and a judge throws him in jail for the maximum time allowed. It would be
Mm-hmm.
wonderful to see that. Do I think it's going to happen? No,
No.
because Alec
Rich
Baldwin has
people
got a
never get.
lot of money.
Rich people rarely get punished.
Yeah, because they have a lot of money. And sooner or later, what's going to end up happening is the state's going to say, you know what? We can't continue to fight this because it's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the rich people are constantly doing. They're taking advantage of the fact that the state has limited funds. You know,
At this point, the rich are basically above the law.
he's not the richest, and I'm not saying that he's got unlimited funds because he doesn't. But
He
he is
doesn't.
quite wealthy.
Nobody has unlimited funds.
I mean, theoretically speaking, unlimited funds. I mean, if you're going against somebody like, like Microsoft or Amazon, theoretically they have unlimited funds because nobody
Or
else can
Elon
match them.
Musk.
Yeah,
Just
well,
Elon Musk, the individual.
yeah, not so much anymore. He screwed himself over by by the whole thing with Twitter.
Well, yeah, Twitter.
But
Anyway,
at any rate, so the rich just they never get held accountable for what they do. And it part of the reason we have such a political divide in this country is because you get somebody like Trump who's saying the right words so that the non-rich people believe him.
yep. And vote for him.
Yeah, and that's why they vote for him, is because he's saying the right words. Whether they're real
But
or
he's
not
not
is
doing.
different.
But he's doing jack shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whether they are real or not, what he's saying, whether he truly believes in it, and whether he's actually going to follow it, is a completely different story. But he's speaking in terms that the the non-wealthy people they can identify with, and that's why he did so well in the first election that he ran in. The second one he didn't do so well because all of the Republicans who were actually paying attention to things said, you know what, he's just speaking out his ass.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of people who realize that
And
his
Trump himself is among the rich elite that thinks they're above the law.
well,
Look at how many times he's been sued.
he sort of is rich on paper, much more so on paper than
That's because
anybody
he's
else.
evaded
Like,
taxes for
yeah,
half his life.
yeah, he's wealthy on paper. Unlike Bill Gates, who's he's wealthy well beyond just paper. and,
Mm-hmm.
and by paper I'm talking stocks and stuff like that. I'm not talking paper money. I'm talking you know assumed wealth. Not Bill Gates has got actual wealth. Donald Trump doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump, he spends money in ways that either trick companies into giving him loans, or he tricks them so that they're the ones that get screwed when he files bankruptcy. And he doesn't actually file bankruptcy,
Which
it's
he's
his
done 3
businesses.
times.
Yeah. So but what happened with a lot of Republicans is they realized what I did with Trump. His tax breaks that were supposedly so great for the for the low class and the middle class, they're only good for about 5 to 10 years, and then after that, all the benefits switch to the wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So he speaks a really good game, but forgets, kind of shoves it under the carpet that
Yep.
he's not really doing a whole lot for the people he's claiming he's doing a lot for.
He's not.
So that's where he's going to run into trouble. He's not going to have enough Republican support. And I'm of the opinion that he's not going to admit that he was defeated in the Republican primary.
Nope.
And if and when he loses, he will He will run as an independent, which it'll kill the Republican Party. They will not have a chance at winning the presidency. No ifs, ands, or
In
buts about it.
2024, I agree that if he does that, then yes, but I don't think it will kill the Republican Party permanently.
No, he won't kill it permanently. No, no. What I mean is he will prevent the Republican Party from becoming president again in
Mm-hmm.
2024, which more than likely that's why DeSantis is kind of, maybe I don't want to run yet
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, he knows he's not going to win. And it's not because he'd be going against Trump. It's because Trump is going to do whatever it takes to try and get back into the office. And yeah, it's going to be a mess. But
I think there's a possibility that we'll get a worse January 6th if he loses.
maybe not. I don't know. It's
With how crazy his supporters are, it's not surprising at all.
the problem is a lot of his supporters are realizing that you know he's not really speaking for them. He's not really
Mm-hmm.
doing anything for them. And that shows with the midterms.
And a lot of them, I'd even argue, are crazier than he is. They're worse off than he is.
Yeah, yeah, and some of it is that people
Specifically,
have.
some of the politicians that have gotten there just because he endorsed them.
Well, you look at the midterms. He had just one person win in the midterms that he backed.
Mm-hmm.
That says something. That says that Republicans really just don't trust him. And some of that's because a lot of these people who backed him, at first, like on January 6th, a lot of people that backed him are suddenly realizing that, okay, he's talking out his ass because, you know, COVID is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've
And
either
climate
had
change is a real thing.
they've either had somebody who, close to them who died or had some serious problems, or, they just opened their eyes and realized, yeah, okay, maybe
Yep.
he's talking out his butt. Not everybody's like that. Don't get me wrong. There's
Because
some that
people are
still
stupid.
believe it.
Some people are stupid enough to blindly follow him no matter what he says.
Yep, yep.
And those are the people I'm worried about.
Yeah, but at the same time, they know what to expect now,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be a little better prepared for it. But I truly don't think that he's going to win the primary. And beyond not winning the primary, you know, you, even if I am right and he does run as an independent, he's not going to win.
Yeah, if he wins, if he runs as an independent, the, he's guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, he doesn't
And I
have enough cash or enough financial backers to be able to support an independent campaign. The only
and if he
campaign that
wins
he
the
could do
Republican
is
primary,
Republicans.
I highly doubt that. I don't think he'll win against Biden.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of questionable. Biden is not doing nearly as bad as what a lot of people claim, but he's also not doing the greatest job.
I
Like most other
don't.
presidents,
I
he's just
think
kind
that
of
he'd
sitting there.
lose against Biden because his popularity's Biden's popularity is getting a bit better, and Trump's is on the downswing.
Yeah, yeah, and that, like I said, I really don't think that he's going to make it past the primary.
Although if he wins the primary and Harris is the Democratic nominee, Trump will be president again. I guarantee it. I don't think Kamala Harris can win an election, a presidential election.
Maybe because you'll get a lot of the, oh, I wanted to vote for the first woman.
Yeah,
You
look
know,
where that got Hillary though.
yeah. The unfortunate thing is Hillary couldn't. She can't keep her mouth shut.
Hmm.
She thought that
Pokemon go to the polls.
she thought she was
Oh, that
elite.
was bad.
She thought she was elite And turns out she's not. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of people, myself included, who said, I don't want another 8 years of a Clinton White House. I didn't even want another 4 years of a Clinton White House, where it was just
Mm-hmm.
constant scandals.
Which is, which I think is what we would have gotten had she won.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been a lot more scandals going through.
It would have been. I'm saying it would have been only 4 years, not 8,
Yeah, probably because it would have been a mess. Just because a lot of it would have to do with scandals that come up.
because of historical precedent. It's rare when a single party wins 4 elections in a row,
Yeah,
and it hadn't been done since '88 when Bush Sr. won.
yeah, but I don't know. We
Hmm.
shall see, I guess.
Yep.
It's another year away.
Sure.
All right, so what do you say we go on to our next topic? Since we merged,
What's
we
next?
flew off tracks with that one.
We did. Holy crap.
Yeah. So, next one. I put in here World War III is on the way.
Again?
Well, I really truly think there's potential for it to happen because Putin
Is it
is
2020 again?
yeah. Putin is
Because
running
Trump
out of money. He's running out of
because
money
Trump
and he's
almost
running out of
went after
weapons.
Iran back then,
Yeah.
and we thought that would start World War III.
Yeah, but this isn't anything that is controlled within the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So Putin is running out of ammunition, he's running out of money, he's running out of weapons, period.
Yep.
And he doesn't have the capacity to build more for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. But so he's talking to China.
Of course he is.
Yeah, because well, I mean, truthfully, the
Because
two
China has this stuff.
well, China has more than just money. China is the
They have
this
a shitload of money.
yeah, they've got a lot of money, but they're also quite strong militarily.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They
second
haven't gotten a chance to use any of it.
they're second to the United States as far as the size of their military and the amount of money they spend on the military.
Mm-hmm.
They have weapons that can rival US weapons, if not better than. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as a civilian, my knowledge of what they have is quite limited. Much
Yep.
more so than what the U.S. military would know. But they're a strong contender. They're a strong, you know, contender. I mean, not like we're in a fight, but they're a strong country militarily.
Yep.
And
And economically.
yeah, so Putin is talking to them, and Biden,
Again, of course he is. That's not
yeah,
surprising at all.
and something interesting that Biden did, and I can't say that he did a horrible thing with it. He spoke to the president. What is it? President Xi, I think is his name,
Yep,
of
President Xi.
of China, and he didn't threaten him. He said, "Look, I just want to point out that when Russia did this, when they started this war, they had all kinds of problems. They have
Mm-hmm.
internal problems. It will likely happen to you as well." He didn't say, if you do this, we're going to screw you over. We're going to throw economic sanctions against you and all this.
He w-
He didn't do
he
that.
was saying, if you do this, you're screwing yourself.
Yeah, he was pointing that out, you know.
Good
So,
luck.
yeah, because part of the problem is, yeah, we could try and put sanctions on China, but we'd be killing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, China can't really exist financially without the US. The US can't really exist financially without China.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do with more than just the fact that China owns a lot of U.S. bonds. It has to do with the fact that we have so many businesses where all of their manufacturing is done in China that these businesses would go out of business without those Chinese manufacturing,
Hmm.
capabilities. Excuse me.
I mean, not necessarily. They could open up factories elsewhere,
Do you know how long it takes to build a factory?
or perhaps they could just try to restore abandoned factories here.
Do you know how long it would take to do that? See, there's a reason. There's a reason that
What?
they don't restore factories. It costs
Hmm.
as much and takes as long as building new.
Hmm.
So that's why you have so many abandoned factories all over the place, because it's just cheaper, faster, easier to buy a new piece of property and build a new factory than it is to tear down an to retrofit an existing factory or to tear it down and build new.
Yep.
So but it takes like 5 to 10 years to get a factory up and running fully. So, if we suddenly put sanctions on China, yeah, it's going to have a major impact, because not only are these companies that rely on China for manufacturing going to suffer, but the consumer is going to suffer as well, because um because demand is going to go up because supply has gone down. It's really unfortunate that that's how we do things. That's how things are, but that's the way it is. It's part of the problem with the global economy. But if China actually does start supplying Russia with anything, even if it's just ammunition, we're we'll be inching closer to world war,
Yep.
because we have a lot of allies over there in Asia that they're kind of terrified of China already.
Yep.
But you know and then of course there's
But they'd be
also,
more terrified of a China-Russia alliance
yeah, yeah,
because Russia is also over there
yep. And the other problem is,
because Russia is huge.
yeah, and there's also the whole issue with North Korea. you know I think one of the reasons that China is kind of hesitant to do anything anywhere with anything is because they don't know what what Kim Jong Un is going to do.
Hmm.
He's a bit of a whack job,
He is,
and
and honestly, I would not be surprised if he is the man that starts World War III.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of it is he's held in check somewhat because he'd have to do an awful lot to really take out the United States and our ability to
Hmm.
to take him out.
I'm worried about him just invading the South.
Yeah, I think that'll happen at some point. I don't think there's an if. I think it's a when.
Hmm.
The only thing that's going to be stopping him is, unlike back in the Korean War, he won't have the Russians backing him.
Hmm.
You know,
He will have the Chinese still backing him, possibly.
I don't think so. I don't think the Chinese really back him. I think they're kind of afraid of him.
Hmm.
I
You
think
think so?
not as far as him doing damage to their country. Like
Hmm.
extensive damage. I think they're a little afraid of the fact that he might decide, you know what, China's pissed me off today. I'm gonna start nuking them or something like that.
Yep.
You know, but if he does that, he's really stupid, because China's right there and they'll obliterate North Korea.
Yep.
They'll wipe it right off the map. But I don't know. So I think North Korea is kind of keeping China in check, and they don't want to spread themselves too thin,
Hmm.
kind of like we've done.
Mm.
But, they don't want to spread themselves too thin, and, they also kind of want to stick to themselves. Because, let's face it, China is it's held under lock and key as far as knowledge of things going on, you know?
Yep.
And every time you let somebody out of the country, they can learn the truth that you don't want them to know. So, they kind of stick, kind of try
Prime
and keep to
example is the
themselves.
Tiananmen Square massacre.
Yes, yes. According to China history, that never happened.
Nothing happened on that day.
Yeah. But that's why Google search is not available in China. That's why it's such a big
Mm-hmm.
deal that Apple went back into China, because it meant that Apple was censoring things. But so anyhow, how about our last topic here?
Sure. What's this one?
So the other day there was a video where they were talking about a teacher who had taken a game system away from a kid, and
Classic.
yeah, and she was walking out in the hall, and suddenly this kid came running and
Oh.
shoved her so hard that she literally flew, landed, and was instantly unconscious. He went over
Oh.
and started punching and kicking her while she's
Oh.
completely and totally unconscious.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, now let me make sure that this is out there. The kid does have some mental issues. He's not completely out of it,
Mm-hmm.
but he's slightly mentally disabled. But that doesn't excuse the fact that he went and did this.
No, not at
And
all.
where I have a real problem is somebody, the ABC News talked to somebody, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it wasn't them. Maybe it was she was just complaining and they picked up the video or whatever. But this lady was talking and saying that this teacher was in the wrong for taking this away from this kid, and it's her fault that this child, and she emphasized child. And what really
How old
pissed me
was
off, I don't know how
how
old
old
he
was he?
is. I don't know how old he is, but he's mid-teens. I can guarantee that. Why can I guarantee that? Because he's something like 6'2" and 200 pounds.
Yeah, that only counts as a child legally.
Yeah. I mean, he's 6'2", 200 pounds, which is probably about 70 pounds heavier than this teacher was.
Yeah.
And he came running, and you see it in the security video. He came running at full blast and slammed into her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. To me, I don't care. If he's got some mental issues, perhaps there should have been more people in the room so that she's not the only one who's saying, "Hey, I'm going to take your game system away."
Mm-hmm.
Or how about this? Perhaps he shouldn't have a game system while he's in school.
Exactly.
You're there for an education. I don't care if you have a mental handicap of some kind or not. You're there for an education. You're not there to play games.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand a phone, kids having a cell phone. Okay. But to
Of
take a
course.
video game system in, because they specified this was a video game system. They did not say this was a
Mm-hmm.
phone. This was a video game system.
Yeah.
And, she's not going to take it and keep it or take it and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
She's taking it away so that he can focus on school. And then she
And
will
she'd
give it
probably give it back
back.
to him at the end of class.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the day,
And
perhaps.
here's the thing.
If you're going a little overboard.
Here's the thing. This kid, you could hear in his speech that yes, he definitely has, a mental handicap of some kind. You can hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also aware enough to know what is going to happen to him. Why do I say that? Because while he was being handcuffed, The officer's body cam caught him saying, "Am I going to jail?" And the officer said, "Yes, you are." "How
Good.
long?" "I don't know. That's not up to me. Because I've got better things to do." Oh my. I'm like, okay.
Uh-oh.
So, either this kid should not have been in school, or he needs much, much more attention than what a public school system is going to be able to give him.
Yeah.
But the fact that this lady was defending him tells me this is where the problem is in the United States. We're defending actions like this. Whether he is mentally handicapped or not, attacking somebody is not okay.
Over a game system.
Even if it's not over a game system, I mean, maybe, even if it was over his phone, it's not okay to attack her. She's not stealing
that's
it.
overboard.
She's not stealing it. She's taking it away because you need to focus on your studies. Simply put, that's what she's there for, to make sure that you learn.
Even though the American public education system doesn't actually teach you anything.
It does teach you. It's just not as good.
Past a certain point.
Yeah. It's just not as good as it needs to be. But
that's an understatement.
Yeah. So, anyhow, folks, you probably heard the music starting up in the background.
That means good night.
We'll see ya.